Welcome back to the Puck Bunker. I'm Rocco Zappia, joined as always by my co-host, the man who claims to be able to stop a Peyton Kettles slap shot, Darren Boyce. How you doing, Boycer? Boyce, you're muted.
I don't know if that's actually true, Rocco, but
I don't know. You're a pretty good beer league goalie. And so speaking of Peyton Kettles, he's been kind enough to join us today, have a little hockey talk. So Peyton, thanks for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon to do this with us. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So first off, now, if you were talking to someone who's never seen you play before, how would you kind of describe your game in terms of your identity as a player and kind of what they could expect to get out of Peyton Kettles night in, night out?
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm a pretty responsible defenseman. I feel like I take care of my own defensive zone and not really worry about offense. So I like to play physical and like to be hard on the top players, which is not seen as much anymore. So I like to do that and I guess kind of punish players.
That's yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you know we're pretty big fans of yours and the way that you play the game. We talk about that a lot. That it's the physicality is going out, but then you watch this kind of Stanley Cup final that's going on right now, and you wonder why it's kind of dwindled a little bit. So like now you said you like to play physical, so you obviously bring a little bit of a mean streak. Is that something that kind of was always sort of came naturally to you in a sense, or is that something that you've tried actively to kind of add to your game as you got bigger and stronger as you're getting older?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've been working on, but it's always kind of been in my game. When I was younger, we not being able to hit, and first year hitting, I was super excited. So it's always kind of been in my game to be physical and maybe run some guys. But yeah, I've definitely worked on it a little bit, and always have to work on little things. So it's definitely something that I've been working on to be more consistent and be more physical too.
So growing up, like who was your favorite team kind of growing up? I know you're from Winnipeg. And then in terms of individual players, like who did you really look up to as a defenseman or try to kind of model your game after or take tips and from them?
Yeah, when I was really young, kind of switched between teams, um, but now I'm an Oilers fan for the last probably 11 years. So it's been a long wait to be in the Stanley Cup Finals, and hopefully they can win 2 games here. But when I was younger, kind of watching guys like Carlo and some physical guys like that, it's definitely look up to him and the style that I play. So kind of watch him and take tips from him.
We definitely hope the Oilers pull it off. Obviously, being a Canadian-based show, we're cheering for the Oilers as well. And this might be the last season here that you can openly cheer for them, unless unless you're lucky enough to hear your name called by your childhood team. That'd be pretty cool. But I'll let Boyce jump in here for a minute.
yeah, just I mean, you get matched up a lot against kind of the top guys and some of the other teams. I mean, I would go, who are some of the guys that you think you've actually, been really successful against, with your style, and, B, just how do you kind of prepare for, some of those top guys on top teams? Because I know, especially this year is a little bit, obviously you guys were the top of the league, but I mean, you guys were challenged a lot, every evening. You're on the ice a lot. So just how do you kind of prepare for that?
Yeah, I think guys that I thought I did pretty good against that are really good players, guys like Braden Yeager, Lucas Sachin, guys that are smaller but they're really quick, really skilled. So kind of just trying to be physical on them early in the game, and then kind of continuing to stay right beside them, or like staying in their face, and then just kind of preparing for that. It's kind of just knowing how they play, knowing that sometimes they'll try and cheat behind you, so you kind of have to be aware with them, and when they're always on the ice. So it's kind of difficult to play against them all the time, but it's also a huge challenge for me, and I love playing against the top players. So it's nice.
That's good to hear at 17. We like to hear that. So I guess another thing I want to ask you, just maybe if we kind of go through your combine experience. I mean, how was that for you? And I guess kind of the interview experience of some of these teams. Like, how many teams did you meet with, and how did that experience kind of go for you?
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. Had a couple buddies down there that I've played minor hockey with for a very long time, so it was definitely fun to catch up with them. And but yeah, interviews were really good. Didn't really have any bad interviews, so that was good. Wasn't too stressed out after the first one, so I thought it was going to be way worse. But they're all really nice and kind of not really how you expect it to be. You kind of expect them to kind of rip you or try and get in your head, but they're all really nice and kind of ask just pretty simple questions. Interviewed with 21 teams, so it was a pretty busy week. And then testing like that, it was a grind. So kind of still recovering a little bit mentally and physically. So, but it was
I,
overall a good week.
Good.
I won't ask you to kind of rat out which team, but was there a team that asked you, like, you hear all these there's some weird questions you hear. Did you get asked anything that really stood out that was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, there was a couple questions, and then there's a couple teams that showed video. Um, Video wasn't too hard. It was kind of just they're trying to get in your brain and kind of see what you're thinking in certain plays, and then I think it was one or two teams asked some pretty funky questions.
I wonder what's going on. I think they're just trying to maybe see how you can think on your feet or how you react. I guess I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of science behind it. Now, growing up, like, obviously every player has strong influence in their life that helped them along the way. You're lucky enough to have one right at home. Your dad, Kyle, was pretty damn good hockey player in his own right. 3 seasons as a goalie in the WHL. Drafted to the Predators in 99, played 4 years of pro hockey. So, like, what's that meant to you, having a dad who played the game at such a high level, knows what it takes to have a successful career? And then specifically as that relates to your draft season, having someone to lean on who's kind of been through the nervousness of that draft day experience and has been lucky enough to have his name called by a team.
Yeah, it's been really special. He was my coach when I was younger. Kind of helped me through everything growing up, and especially with hockey. So he was a big part in my decision to go to the Western League. With him just playing there and understanding that I feel like I'm ready to play at a junior level and not wait to go to college, which is obviously a great decision now, which with CHL and college and stuff like that. So um, and then draft stuff, I think he's helped me a lot too, just to kind of stay focused on hockey and um, not kind of worry about the rankings and stuff like that. He told me um, he didn't talk to any teams his draft year. So that's kind of it was a big surprise to hear that, and for him to still get drafted, it was pretty interesting to hear.
Now, having him specifically as a goaltender, do you think that that's given you, like, I don't want to say an advantage, but maybe a different perspective on the game that maybe other defensemen wouldn't have? I mean, goalies do see the game a little bit differently than everyone else, and most high level goalies tend to be the guy that reads the game the best on the team, right? So, just specifically with his position, do you find that's been kind of advantageous for you?
Yeah, he's kind of taught me to play the game properly. Always focus on playing defense and kind of not cheat the game offensively. Um, I think
Help me out,
goalies.
he says.
Yeah, I think goalies definitely like a more defensive type of player, and a guy that'll help him out. So I think he definitely worry about that stuff.
How old were you when he stopped being willing to strap the pads on?
I think pretty young. I think it was around 9 or 10. But like once in a while, maybe like once a year, you throw on the pads and go on the outdoor rink with us, me and my brother. So it was definitely fun to shoot on him, but he's got super old pads and stuff, so he can barely move them now.
Oh
But
man.
yeah,
At a certain point, the shots start coming a little bit too hard, I think.
yeah.
Probably looks sweet in the old gear though.
Yeah, he's got all of his AHL stuff, so when he throws that on, it's pretty cool. And got some of his Western League jerseys in the basement, so it's always cool to kind of see what he's done and kind of try and do the same thing or better.
Boyce, or sorry, Peyton, you mentioned like one of the things that he helped you with was trying to not not pay attention to guys like us, for example, throughout the draft year and just kind of focus on the season. But look, with this day and age, it's impossible for it to not come across your feed once in a while, or buddies send it to you. So like, how much do you pay attention to that stuff? There's so many people now that cover this. Like, do you follow that stuff at all? I know you try not to, but and further to that, like, how do you react when you see a list and you see a name like lower than a guy that you know, and you're like, fuck man, like I'm better than this guy. What are these idiots doing? Like, do you let that get to you, or use it as motivation, or just try to ignore it completely?
Yeah, like you said, try not to look at it as much as possible, but it definitely comes up. Yeah, when I see something that I maybe don't like or I don't agree with, try to I guess use it as motivation and try and prove myself that I am better than I think I am. Um, but I think it's just their opinion, and teams obviously have their own lists and stuff like that. So I think for me, I'm not trying to impress. Um, I guess these guys that are making their lists or whatever. I'm trying to impress these scouts that are coming to watch me, and they know my team system and how my team plays, so they kind of understand it a little bit more with obviously how much I play, who I'm playing against, and that kind of stuff like that. So it's kind of I kind of look at it and don't really think about it too much. Um, and yeah, just if I do, I kind of use it as motivation a little bit.
Well, I think I think given like you said, teams have much different lists, and I think that there's a very different way that a team looks at a guy with your skill set compared to, not everybody, but there are a lot of people who focus more on stats and highlights and that sort of thing, and that kind of gets that underappreciated. But you see it year in and year out. It shouldn't be a surprise anymore. Big mean defensemen tend to go a lot earlier than the quote unquote experts think. But I think that's the complete right attitude. I mean, that you're taking to it, and I think you know what kind of player you are and what you bring to the table. So, like, now in game, like, how do you find ways to stay like in the moment of a game? So like, obviously it's junior hockey, and every hockey player, the best players in the world, still make mistakes. So say there's, you make a mistake, there's a bad bounce, or you get beat on a pinch, and it goes the other way and they score. Like, how do you find ways to sort of shrug that off and kind of maintain your confidence, your focus? Like, you're playing 24, 26, sometimes 28, 30 minutes a night, so if something bad happens, you obviously got to move on from that. So like, do you have any tools or tricks or things, or you just kind of find yourself naturally calm? I mean, we don't find that you react poorly if a bad thing happens. So like, what are things that you do to kind of make sure that you can move on from those?
Yeah, for me, when I make a bad play or just like a stupid decision, kind of just go back to the bench, grab a sip of water, just kind of just breathe. I do think about it, the play, but it's after I'm out there for a shift, it's not something that's on my mind anymore. So I think I do pretty good, like you said, with handling making a bad decision or um, something like that. So I think I do a pretty good job, and kind of just take a couple sips of water and take a few deep breaths, and I feel like I'm fine after that.
Boy,
Yeah, I guess I got a couple things. So you played at the Holinka tournament this year. So kind of, I mean, that ends up being kind of a longer year for you there, because you're kind of playing, I guess, a month before your year starts. how did that kind of, maybe help your game or impact your game as the season went on, playing in, an international event with some pretty highly regarded guys?
Yeah, I thought well, it was obviously an honor to make that team, and to win gold. It was really special. But for me, felt like I didn't have a great tournament. Made a couple decisions that weren't great on the ice, and didn't play a whole lot. So I kind of just took that and kind of watched my game a lot, and kind of just um, went over and over and saw the mistakes that I made, and just tried to fix them before the season.
I mean, yeah, I thought you had a pretty good season after that, so that's good to hear.
Thanks.
I guess another thing I want to ask you too, during the summer. I mean, I know it's your draft year, so it's a little bit different. You got some more things going on, but improvements or things you want to improve on. How do you go about making those decisions to start your off season, and then how would you go about it?
Yeah, I think one thing is talking to your coaches after the year, and seeing what they thought, and um, for me as well, kind of going over what I thought I need to improve on. Um, for me, it's being more consistent physically, and making more consistent plays, being a little bit more simpler, and also to drive my offensive game a little bit. I tend to stick back a little bit and try and focus on playing defense a little bit more.
So I guess kind of goes further into my next question. I guess, like, what are some goals, I guess, for you, in the upcoming year here? Is maybe pushing your offense maybe a little bit more? Is that one of them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, um, like I said earlier, points aren't everything, especially for me. But yeah, definitely being an older guy on the maybe a younger team next year. Um, Definitely trying to maybe run the power play, or do kind of more of that stuff. Um, but continue to play my defensive game, and shutting their top players down. So I think it's definitely a big goal of mine to play a little bit more offense. But for me, knowing that it might not be my role um, in higher levels, so I think just continuing to focus on my defensive game is huge for me.
Um, so we spoke about your dad earlier, obviously, being a huge influence in your life, and obviously both your parents, of course, are always there for you. But I'll give you a chance to kind of give an unexpected shout out here. Like, is there someone along the way that's really made, aside from your folks, really made a big difference for you, either in your trajectory as a hockey player, or just on the human side of it, someone who's kind of always had your back, maybe someone who's maybe not aware how big of a role they played for you, that you'd like to take the chance to say, hey, you made a difference, and thanks for helping me get to draft day, in a sense?
Yeah, I think obviously all my old coaches definitely helped me a lot in my hockey. But I feel like lately, going to the rink hockey academy, guys like my trainer and skating coach. So I think those guys have definitely helped me out a lot, and um, yeah, I think that's a huge part in where I am today, with um, maybe how good my skating is, or how strong I am on other players. So I think just the rink overall has helped me a lot.
I like that. Now, I know that they kind of took away the show of the draft a little bit here this year, but you mentioned to us before the show you're still planning to go down with your family and enjoy the experience. Now, I got to know, because it says a lot, what kind of suit guy are you? Are you one of these flashy suit guys, or are you more meat and potatoes, classic suit look?
Yeah, I'm for me at the draft, I'm going to be wearing like a kind of a pinstripe, navy blue and red pinstripe. So it's definitely the fanciest suit I've ever had. So see how that goes. But if not, I have a backup one that I'm bringing as well. So
I like that. Now, say in a world where you're just a mediocre athlete, maybe a beer league superstar like me and Darren, what's Peyton Kettles' career path look like in a world where hockey doesn't exist?
Yeah, for me, I love to do woodworking and welding. So I think I would get into a trade and kind of do that. Really enjoy stuff like that. Made a table out of hockey sticks and broken hockey sticks and coasters and kind of stuff like that. So definitely enjoy to use my hands and work with different types of materials. So I think that's something that I would do.
I feel like given given the way you play that, I maybe should have expected that that'd be a pretty hard nosed answer for alternate career choices as well. Now, question about your well, either current team or previous ones. Who would be like the maybe like the funniest guy that you've ever played with? Like, you know, Marc-Andre Fleury's notorious, like funniest guy in the NHL. A guy like that that maybe is great in the room or hilarious. And what does it mean to a team to have guys like that in the room, especially maybe in a year where you're not contending as much as you kind of hoped for?
Yeah, one of my previous teammates, Dawson Grewing, probably the funniest guy I know. Always lit up the room when maybe things were down, and always just cracking jokes. And but he also could flip a switch and be serious. He's one of the biggest guys I know too. So um, to flip the switch and go play angry on the ice is definitely cool to see, and learned a little bit. And it's definitely more special.
Now let's say Peyton Kettles gets a hold of the music in the locker room. What kind of music are we hearing when you get your turn on the playlist, and what would your goal song be or your fight song?
Yeah, before would probably be some type of country, and then before a game would probably be like some rock or some rap music. Goal song, I haven't really thought about that. Um, I'm not a big remembering what song lyrics or song names are, so I don't really know um, a whole lot of songs by heart, but um, same with my fight song. I don't really know what I would really pick for that. I kind of just like the horn going off in the rink in Swift Current when guys are fighting or when I'm fighting.
Oh, I like that. Boys, go ahead.
I just kind of wanted to go back to you're going to get drafted here. You're going to go to pro camps here and that. Um, I know in junior they the fighting aspect, even kind of the physicality aspects, not as it's not as much as it used to be. Are you kind of excited to kind of move to that level and kind of utilize that part of your game more? Is that something that kind of excites you about moving to the pro ranks?
Yeah, it's definitely a bigger thing in professional hockey. There's definitely a lot more bigger guys and taller guys that like to play physical. So it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to go up against those guys that I maybe haven't gone up against before, to battle it out and um, play physical and do all that kind of stuff in mini games or in camp. So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Any chance you drop the gloves in camp?
I doubt it.
Put him on
But
the
I
spot,
did.
Put them
Darren.
on the spot. I love it though.
I did in Swift. My first year, I broke my hand in a fight. So
Oh,
um, yeah, definitely not
learned
scared
his
to
lesson then.
mix it up a bit. Yeah.
I love to hear that though. Yeah, because it's just not it. Used to be a little bit more fighting in the leagues there before. It seems like something you're willing to do. So, I'm sure they'll like that at the pro level. I know we do. So we'll look forward to seeing it. That's for sure.
um, yes, that is for sure. Now,
Yeah.
like I think one thing that people maybe might not realize about you, and in my opinion, people that don't take enough of this into account when they're making their list. Look, you're born 2 weeks later. You're in next year's draft. You're one of the youngest guys in this draft class, while also at the same time being one of the biggest. Do you think that like having that extra year has made a difference, and do you think that maybe gives you a little more runway compared to some guys who might be a little more filled out and maybe almost a year older, some of them?
Yeah, I think definitely a disadvantage to, I mean, be born a little later than some guys, but I think teams do take that into accountability, and they're always asking, what do you think you're going to get to with weight, and are you still growing? So it's kind of a big thing for them, and kind of knowing how big I'm going to be, and just knowing that I'm a couple months behind some guys, and maybe almost a full year behind some guys. So it's definitely full, or definitely a big thing for me too. It's as a skinnier guy when I was younger to try and fill out. It was always hard. So to maybe not grow as much anymore, and to kind of fill out will be big for me in these upcoming years.
Yeah, I think you've grown upwards about enough. I think you should be able to handle the size aspect of pro hockey
Yeah.
for sure. So, no, that's great, boys. You got anything else?
I'm good, Rocco. Yeah.
No, that was awesome, Peyton. Thanks for joining us. We're obviously big fans of the way you play the game, and we're looking forward to your name being called a lot earlier than people expect. In an ideal world, you end up sometime in Ottawa, and we can grab a burger there sometime during training camp. But if you don't end up in Ottawa, we wish you the best of luck, and enjoy the experience there. You've worked hard and you deserve it. So thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it.
All right, boys. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.